First shot missed, second shot hit.
The object taken down Sunday was the third in as many days to be shot from the skies. The White House says the objects differed in size and maneuverability from a Chinese surveillance balloon U.S. fighter jet shot down earlier this month. Taiwan's defense ministry says it would shoot down any suspected military object coming close to its shores from mainland China. Authorities say the gunman who killed 3 students and wounded 5 at Michigan State University was a 43-year-old with a previous gun violation who fatally shot himself after an hours-long manhunt that ended in a confrontation with police miles from campus. Investigators are still sorting out why Anthony McRae fired inside an academic building and the student union. The government reports consumer prices rose last month.
The pace of inflation eased in January, according to the Labor Department's latest figures. Consumer prices rose 6.4% from a year ago. That's down from 6.5% in December, but slightly higher than what economists were expecting. On a monthly basis, prices rose 0.5%. While many analysts expect inflation to fall to roughly 4% later this year, it could plateau under inflationary pressures. The Fed's 8 rate hikes since March have had no discernible effect on America's exceptionally strong job market. Jennifer King, Washington.
Shane Steichen is the new coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He was offensive coordinator for the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. This is AP News.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me. My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God, oh my God, it's so beautiful, I'm so blessed, thank you, thank you, thank you, then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and then end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else, right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so
Okay,
I can come
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA. That's CNBC News, NBC News, and NBC Sports Radio station. KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Audible. Podchaser, GeoSend, Tiki Live, Rumble, and more. I am Dr. Marissa, and I am delighted to be the first, maybe, to wish you happy Valentine's Day today, also known as SAD Day, Single Awareness Day, whichever one it is for you. I wish you the best day ever. And to celebrate Valentine's with me today, I can't wait to bring you the Waltons. So some of you are not ageless enough as I am to remember the Waltons, but even the youngins know that expression, "Good night, John Boy," and that is from the amazing classic TV for the Waltons, and that is coming up. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no K words, no Kardashian talk at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show. And I am so, let's see, we're going to start with breakfast. So I see eyeballs in the studio. Thanks for joining me. 8 specific gratitudes is how I like to start every show that I can with, so that you can top your day with gratitude, and then the bottom of the bun is appreciation. So what are the things that you like about yourself? Once we finish that, we will get into the show. So what are you grateful for? Dr. Wayne Dyer says 5 things in the morning. Beloved teacher who's on the other side now. I say 8. 8's a lucky number. It's a homophone for good fortune. So that's why we do 8. If you just saw me on Game Show Network last week, the title of episode 4, it's a new show called Switch. And they titled it 8 is my lucky number. So guess who won $1,000 on that show? And if you've been on my Instagram, Doc Balance, you can see some of the clips there, as well as on Facebook and all that wonderful social media family that I have. So I'll do that. That's my first gratitude, that I won $1,000 on that show. 2, that today's Valentine's, and I have made peace with Valentine's even when I'm single. It's a great day. 3, I'm grateful that I have finished 1 entire year last year on Valentine's. I started Love My Body Project and said, I don't feel attractive in the body that I'm in because of weight gain and non-healthy whatever. And so I decided to put my Blissipline to work. And as of today, I got on the scale and I have lost 35 pounds. So 3 plus 5 is 8. So that's 3. Grateful that that has happened. And I really am. I have to give myself an attaboy, because that was not easy, but I did it anyways. And now I feel much more likely to go on a date. Obviously not in time for Valentine's, but you can still send flowers if you want. 4, I am grateful that I get to live on the ocean of abundance, and you can hear the waves when I sleep at night, which is just amazing. 5, I'm grateful that I have a pool and gym downstairs that help me with my Love My Body Project loss.
6, I'm grateful that I get to drive out to Chino for a client this morning doing organizational psychology. 7, I'm grateful that Sam's in the studio. You're not going to see him though. He's my sound engineer. And that him and all the rest of the guys at KCAA, Fred, my station owner, Mark, my station manager, Polly, my other sound engineer. Let's see if I can get them all. Rick in the morning in the back, Joe in the back. Who am I missing, Sam? Miguel, and you can fill in the rest. Guys at KCAA, I could not do that without you. So this without you. This is my, oh, I forgot to put the banner on. Let's see. It is not 800. This is show, oh, this is show 878 and 564 consecutive weeks on the air. So I am delighted to be able to prove everybody wrong who said, you cannot have positive shows. It's not going to last. Well, darlings, it's almost 10 years. So super grateful for that. Now we're going to go to the bottom of the button. What do you like about yourself, folks? What is the appreciation factor? Why do I do this? Because if you can't approve of yourself, how do you expect other people to? So self-care begins with self-love. And this is an epidemic of people being angry right now or anxious or unhappy. And that stems, I believe, from the inability to like yourself. I think that hurt people hurt people. So if you haven't healed your hurt, this is your chance. Just, little steps before you go to bed. What are things that you like about yourself? So we're going to help you practice right now with that. And that is, what do you like about yourself? I like the fact that I am blissciplined and that I can do things, that I am, I use the gospel according to Nike, and, I just do it anyways. And that is, something that you develop. So that's what do you appreciate about yourself? I still don't see anybody joining me in the comments. You know the drill. Come on. What do you like about yourself, especially on Valentine's Day? 2, I know that I don't need anyone to complete me. Jerry Maguire, love ya. But I think that has hurt us, that we think we need someone. Not saying you don't have to, that relationships aren't fabulous. But first and foremost, I know that I am complete, whole, and one of a kind, wonderful, all by myself. 3, I appreciate that I know how to turn myself around when I'm not feeling good. 4, I know how to keep my mouth shut 88% of the time because I hate apologizing. 5, I appreciate that I have a sense of style. And 6, I appreciate that I know how to take compliments now 88% of the time. I don't wave them away or have that critical voice say, they don't really know you. I receive. 7, I appreciate that I love to smile. And 8, finally, I appreciate that I love to laugh. And that laughter is my favorite sound. So let's see if we can't laugh today. That's it for Breakfast with Dr. Marissa, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Thank you for doing that with me today. On this Valentine's Day. And now I am going to go ahead and bring you the Waltons. We had to pre-record, and John Boy is off doing his another film project, but I do have Michael Learned, who is just delightful. I introduced her during this particular interview that I did with 3 other Waltons, her son, Ben from the Waltons, daughter, Mary Ellen, and the baby of the family, Elizabeth. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them and myself. And I'm just going to bring them. Before I bring them to you, I'm going to play a little clip that Harlan sent me. And thank you, Harlan, for just continuing to give me amazing classic TV guests. So if you've missed any of them, they are in my celebrity show playlist on YouTube, which is a free subscribe. So you can get everyone from Marion Ross from Happy Days. Gosh, I just loved her. Love her. Loretta Swift from MASH. I'm going to leave someone out if I keep going. So I'm just going to go and play this, and you'll go to the playlist to see them. But this was their 50th anniversary for the Waltons. Enjoy. And welcome. You're tuned in. Wrong one. That's the actual interview, and I just wanted to show you this first. Let's see the Waltons. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. These are the Waltons. We're sitting here with the Waltons. Was there ever any doubt, any question of what you were going to do with your life?
Well, when you have no other skills, there's really not much else you can do. But I will say, I got an email from Actors Equity just recently congratulating me on my membership of the union. My equity card will be 65 years old next year.
Wow. To go from the mother of this wonderful and appealing brood to the mother of Jeffrey Dahmer.
I taught him everything he knows.
Yes, what some people in the acting trade would call a leap.
Well, she wasn't a killer. She just happened to love her grandson, who was a killer and chopping up people in her basement. How could you not know somebody's chopping up in the basement?
But you got to work for Ryan Murphy, who was like the
genius. He's
the man with the Midas touch. Yeah.
I feel very lucky.
The
Lovely. Uh-oh. What happened?
It's wonderful to see all this stuff. I'm very touched by the costumes, actually. There's a
question of what you were going to do with your life.
Next year.
Wow. To go from in the acting
Oh,
trade,
I
leap.
see what happened. He didn't.
Well,
All right. I thought there was more to that, but I guess there's no more to that. All right. I am now going to give you the actual interview that I did with the Waltons. And as I mentioned before, John Boy is off doing a film project, and I wanted to play you that just to give you a little of him before I gave you the rest of the Walton reunion on Dr. Marissa's show. Here we go. My advice, I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station, KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Podchaser, JioSaavn, TV Live, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So on the show, there's no gossip, no scandal, no K words, no Kardashian talk at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And that's why I have topics and guests to that end. And it is a special day. It is Valentine's Day. And I thought, who could I bring on to celebrate? Because it's actually SAD Day for me, Single Awareness Day. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to invite someone special. And for those of you who know that I'm ageless, I still do remember some of my absolute favorite TV shows growing up. And one of them is definitely The Waltons. So if you recognize people on screen with me now, they are from The Waltons. And I'm so delighted to have an assortment, like Forrest Gump's box of chocolate, of the Waltons here with me. I'm going to just do a little introduction with them and then have them come and delight us all with some stories and what they're doing now. So I'll start with Judy. Judy, if you could just wave right now, since we don't have the lower third option, and that's a long story we're not going to go into. But Judy Norton is a decade-long actress, or actually more. She spent a decade as Mary Ellen on The Waltons. She's an award-winning director, producer, actress, and writer with recently released suspense film called Inclusion Criteria, and as a singer, not just on the Walton Christmas CD, but one of her own called Reflections. And if we were on my regular studio, there would be big applause right now for you. And then we will go to Cammie Holt Cutler. Cammie is a college teacher. And what's interesting is she was actually assigned to a schoolhouse in the area where the Waltons was set. The show was set, and then left the Waltons setting and returned to LA to become a principal of a charter school. And she just stepped down from that role. Eric Scott, applause for Cammie, that maybe I'll try to figure out how to edit back in. And then we have Eric Scott, who left the industry to be a successful entrepreneur with a messenger service for the industry. And Harlan, our wonderful publicist, tells me that you started out as a delivery boy and ended up buying the company, which is Entrepreneur on Steroids. So welcome to you, Eric.
Yes.
And then last but not least, one of TV's most respected moms, 4-time Emmy winner Michael Learned. And I'm delighted to have her. I I usually read the bios right before the show, so they're fresh. And when Harlan called this morning, he said, 1 billion views. I was like, wow, 1 billion views you've reached as the grandmother of a not so nice guy, Jeffrey Dahmer. But I did watch that series. It was fascinating. Dahmer Monster, the Jerry Dahmer story on Netflix that has hit 1 billion views. You've done more than that, but certainly that is the latest on your resume. Congratulations and welcome, Michael Learned.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to my studio. I know you all have been celebrating with the 50-year anniversary of the Waltons. So I will, as you're talking, go and see if I can retrieve from my StreamYard studio some of the video that Harlan sent over, as well as some of the pictures. But let's start like this. On the count of 3, point to the Walton that you would like to have start and talk about how you got on that show in the first place. I think that's something that everybody always loves to know. You know, was it an accident? Were you trying? Was there anything funny around that? I've been so fortunate. I had Don Wells 4 or 5 times on my show from Gilligan's Island. I've had Jerry Mathers from Leave It to Beaver. I've had half of the cast of Happy Days. So in 872 shows and 560 consecutive weeks on the air, I've been blessed to have a lot of amazing, I want to call them classic and memorable, timeless, ageless actors. So thank you for coming to the studio. But on the count of 3, point to the person in the Brady Bunch box that you would like to have start. 1, 2, 3, point. Okay. Everybody's pointing down at you, Eric.
Oh.
So you got the most fingers,
Okay.
even
I
though
was
you
pointing to
also
Michael.
pointed down.
But my
Our
position
boxes.
is, I was going down to Michael. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Michael.
Well,
What?
Michael's probably her introduction to the show was different than the three of us. So why don't we start with Michael, and then you can go to the three of us, because we have very similar stories, and any one of us can talk about that. But Michael, how did you get the show?
I don't know. Oh, I know how. Fred Silverman apparently did not want me. And Ethel Wynant, this wonderful woman who used to come up and see plays at the American Conservatory Theater, she apparently, I was told, wrestled him to the ground over me. So I'm grateful to her. But I had short blonde hair and I was 32, and they were looking for someone in her 40s with long red hair. So if she hadn't wrestled Fred Silverman to the ground, I would never have gotten to meet all you people that I love so much.
Aw. And you were an actress at the time. You had done some things. Did you always know you wanted to be an actress?
Oh yeah, I went to drama school and an art school when I was 12. So yeah, that was in the cards for me.
Fantastic. And what was your first reaction when you saw Eric on the set?
Oh God, no. Eric has a heart of gold, and he, I had 3 kids at home, and there were times when the days just dragged on, and mashed potatoes and the food scenes were all congealed, and I would be just beside myself, and Eric would come in and make me laugh. And once he made me laugh so hard, I ended up sobbing with my head on the table. But
Okay.
yeah, Eric sometimes kept me going, truly.
That's beautiful. And Eric, who else would you like? Eric, why don't you talk about your acting entree?
Yeah, so I acted for about 4 or 5 years before the show. Started with modeling and commercials.
I'm very touched by the costume that.
Sorry, I'm trying to get your Walton's video ready.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
So I started with those commercials, and then I went into episodic and did a couple movies for Disney and that kind of thing. And then my agent tried to get me an interview for The Homecoming, which was a movie they were going to be filming in October of 1971. And it ended up being the pilot for the show. But before that, they did not really want to see me either, Michael. I have to say, it took her about 3 months for them to see me. And she called me one day and said that they will see me. And I went in for the interview, and I didn't think they even gave me a moment's notice. And I walked away thinking I just wasted that interview. I could usually tell after an interview whether I got the job or not, and I did not feel good about it. And they called about 2-3 days later and said, "You've got a call back." And I came in, and that was when I met Judy and Cammie and David and Mary and John, and we all read together with Fielder Cook, our director, and the producers, and Earl Hamner was there, and we got to meet him at the time, and we did one of the scenes. It was in the barn for The Homecoming, and they talked about our filming it 4 weeks in Studio City and 1 week in Wyoming, and we walked out and said, we've got it. So it was a very different type of experience for me.
Great. And you'd been acting, how old were you then?
I was 12 when I got the movie, and so I worked for about 5 years before that. Started when I was 7. Yeah.
Great. And who do you want to spotlight next?
Oh, I think Cammie should come in.
All right.
The Homecoming, which Eric was just describing, was the first thing I'd ever done. My family lived about an hour and a half, an hour out of Hollywood. My mom was working a job she loved. My dad was running the family store. Everybody was busy. And according to my mom, I pestered her because I wanted to be on television until she gave in and sent a photograph to an agent that a photographer had suggested. And one of the first auditions I went on was for The Homecoming. I was just 6 years old. And I don't really remember. I always love hearing everybody else's stories because I don't remember those kinds of details. But I was very little and I was a confident reader. My mom says that they would say, now we'll help you read your script. And I'd say, why don't I just read it myself? So I was not shy. I'd talk to any stranger. I was absolutely confident and for no good reason, and had a wonderful time and luckily fell in with these people. So
Great. How old were you?
I was 6.
You were 6. Yes, this is the baby Walton. In case some of you don't recognize the name, but that's great. 6 years old. You can read yourself, and became a teacher. And I was teasing her because she was the first one to the studio, and I said, "Well, that's it makes sense because she's the teacher." Wonderful. And last but not least, Judy, multi-talented in the sense that you have a variety of ways in which you express your artistry and creativity.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I started off when I was about 6 or 7, dance classes at first. And then my dad got me an agent. And so I had done work before that. I'd done theater. I did children's theater and then worked with a theater repertory company from the time I was about 10, and did guest spots on TV shows or whatever. And when I was 13, I auditioned for The Homecoming, as Eric and Cammie spoke about. Now, they were looking for a family of redheads. Fortunately, they were willing to see me, evidently. I didn't hear anything about any long, big push
How
on
old
that.
were you?
So I was 13.
Okay.
And it just was a role that felt very comfortable to me right from the beginning. And fortunately, the scene that we auditioned with in the barn, cracking walnuts, was really a bit of a showpiece for the character of Mary Ellen. She was on a rant, and I was good at doing a rant. So I was a tomboy. I loved sports. And so it was a very comfortable role for me to slip into. And I did feel very good about the audition. And it was 3 auditions, one callback. And then the second callback was, as Eric described, where we were all there. And they basically said, "You are the group we would like to have do it." So that was pretty unusual and very exciting.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, were you surprised at how it really, the whole show itself, the characters, it's a classic, I was in a meeting the other day and I said, at close, good night, John Boy. I mean, that has completely carried with it. Were you surprised at that at all, Michael?
Well, yeah, I was surprised that the show was such a hit because I thought it was kind of corny. But when I saw The Homecoming with Patricia Neal, who originated my character, and I was entranced by it. I just thought it was charming and lovely, and I thought she was wonderful. And they told me that she had turned the part down, Patricia Neal, and she and I became friends years later. And not years later, but we became friends during the period of the Waltons. And I said, I'm so grateful to you for turning that part down because it put my kids through school. And she said, "Oh, but darling, I didn't turn it down. They didn't want me." And that hurt me for her. She said she really would have loved to do the part, but she had had a stroke, and I think they were afraid that her health might not hold out it's a lot of work doing an hour show. But that didn't make her feel any better, I don't think. But she was so gracious to me. I don't know if I could have been that gracious to someone who was playing a part I would have liked to play, She was really...
I don't know. You strike me as a very gracious person.
Well, I would cry, but she was amazing.
That's great. Now,
Marissa, when you were asking about the fact that it became so popular and so iconic, you have to go back historically. When we started, we were very last place. The first week that the show premiered, the series. We're fast forwarding from The Homecoming to now the series. That first week we were in last place. of all the Nielsen ratings. And we were up against Flip Wilson and Mod Squad, which were very popular shows when for the time. But every week we would look at the ratings, and it would slowly go up every week, and we would watch it, and then it finally broke the top 20 after the first of the year. And I remember we did the Easter story, which was the very last episode they showed of the year. And that same week that they showed that, we were #1 in the Nielsen ratings, and we also ended up with, I think it was 12 or 13 Emmy nominations. So it all happened over a period of 1 year, that we went from the very last place to first place, and got all the Emmy nominations, of course, and Michael and Richard winning it that first year. So for us, that was our bond during that time. But up until then, we didn't think the popularity was there. They thought we were just going to be a throwaway, and good luck if we make it to the second year. So for us, it was a big discovery, and I don't think any of us had any inkling of what we were doing on the back lots of Warner Brothers back in '72. We would be talking about 50 years later.
Yeah. So overnight success is definitely not the description for this show. And Judy, why do you think that happened? Like, what, Michael just said, thought it was kind of corny, definitely was last place and built up. What would be your explanation? Do you think that it took hold so well?
I think that a lot of work was done over that first year in melding the family, and really all of us finding that rhythm as the cast, as the family. I mean, we got along great right from the beginning, but creating those relationships that the audience could relate to, and from what Michael has said, she and Ralph and Richard, they really fought for the truth and honesty of the scripts and the characters to always make the show better. And I think that there was someone for everyone to relate to, because it was the 3 generations in the same family. And it was just basic core human stories that anybody could relate to. And from what I've heard over the years from fans, is either it was the family they wanted to be a part of because theirs was not good, and so they got comfort from the show in the representation of what a good family was, or it was like their family, or like how their parents grew up or something. And so they related to seeing in some way a representation of themselves and their family. So I think it just spoke to universal timeless themes, which I think is why it is still so popular in reruns now, 50 years later.
That totally makes sense. And people know that I try to talk about good news and talk about happiness and healing, because 7 out of 10 of us are from homes with childhood trauma. And many times we think that we'll never find that happiness. And I don't believe that's true. So your explanation of maybe it not being in your reality, that was a glue or a fascination or an attraction to the show. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Cammie, being the baby. You watched yourself. Do you watch yourself now, and kind of what are your thoughts? I don't like watching myself very much as a repeat of things. But how many years? So you were 6 by the last year. How old were you?
16.
10 years. Okay. So you went through puberty on the show.
Right, I tend to avoid watching that part. Like, as a rule, if I am going through puberty, I skip that episode. But it's anything pre-puberty it can be fun to watch, because I'm just wondering what in the world I'm thinking, because I don't always behave in ways that makes. I'm very unself-conscious when I was little, and I'll just do random things sometimes. There's one scene I was watching where I think all the Walton kids are assembled, and maybe the sheriff's car is pulled up and we're listening to him talk, and I suddenly just start to turn upside down for no reason at all. I'm just dangling upside down. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? And I think it speaks to what a supportive space it was that I felt that comfortable. And I think it also speaks to the fact that the directors were like, awesome, just let her do random 7-year-old girl things and we'll just leave it in. It doesn't have to look, picture perfect. It can be, a little rough and tumble. Even like in our clothing, like my hair's sticking up all over the place. My dress has a little tear in it, They let us run around and get dirty because they wanted it to look real.
Right. Best memories, Michael, of that whole 10 years?
Well, the love that we all felt for each other and the fun we had in the makeup room. We'd all get together and, I just felt, for me, I was the newcomer really. They'd all worked together in the pilot with Patricia. So I was the newcomer. It was an adjustment for them. I'm sure it was for you guys. And but I never felt that I wasn't welcomed or loved. And this is my second family. I feel so blessed to love these people and be loved by them. It doesn't happen that often in this business,
I was going to ask you about that because I know that I've, interviewed casts where after it's done, nobody talks to anyone or there's a break or there's conflict or something like that. And I watched your reunion at the Hollywood Museum, which I'll be playing after I speak to you because I want to maximize the time that I have with you. I know we said that we were going to finish pretty soon, so I want to honor that time, but I'll play that afterwards. And thanks to the Hollywood Museum and Harlan for lending me that footage. You all look like there wasn't a break, right? Your 50-year anniversary. And you are fortunate in that isn't normally what happens maybe in a show. Why do you think that? Was it something that happened on set? Do you have any like
I did again. I did 5 years before, and I never had been on a set that the people got along as well as they did, as we did. In fact, there was a lot of disharmony going on when I'd go on a set, and I'd watch the actors were not getting along. And the ironic thing was here, Lorimar was also producing later on Dallas, and we'd hear about the problems that the actors were having working together, that they'd have to have them come on at different times. And we just never had any of that kind of drama. We never had that kind of discord, never had any problems at all. We all got along. We do now. And I don't know what it was other than lightning hit us. And we are just very fortunate that we all got along. And we saw very similar. We respected each other's feelings, but we saw things very similar also.
I would like to, can I just say that?
Yes, please.
Ralph and I had a little spat once. I can't remember, it had nothing to do with the show. But I remember I had to go and knock on his dressing room because we were about to do a scene and I was crying. And I said, I can't do the scene if we don't make up. And he just opened his arms and gave me a hug. And that was as bad as it ever got, I think, on that show.
I think also, I remember there being times where I was annoyed with one of my other siblings. As Eric laughs, we would tease each other. We were really,
I wonder who that would be.
We were like, but the thing was, we were like real siblings, and there was always this sense that we were so close and so bonded that there was the feeling that you could do that. You could argue with somebody, you could not speak with them, but you always still knew you were family. So it was never like I felt it was a permanent break of any kind. It was like, well, I'm mad at him today, but 2 days from now, we'll be off doing something together. So I liked that. We weren't so careful with each other that we felt we had to be walk on eggshells or anything like that. We could be ourselves and we accepted each other for who we were. And it didn't mean that we always got along, but we always loved each other. So that was the underlying core that I felt and experienced.
I remember that. I specifically on how there was conflict. And I think that for me was important because the conflict got resolved. In our home, it never got resolved, so watching that was it was an eye opener for me, for sure. Now, do you have siblings, Judy?
I do. I have one brother, one sister. Yeah.
Would you say that there was a parallel or just compared?
I mean, I'm very close with both of them. I'm in the middle. So I would say that I'm closer with each of them than they might be with each other. Just no particular reason. But I grew up in the city. It wasn't a big family. It wasn't anything like the Waltons in that sense. So, but I love them.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now, I did look up that there was a rumor, and now that Michael, your husband's in the room.
I didn't do it, I swear to God.
Oh, yes.
But welcome to the show, and thank you for lending us, your beloved here, a little time. And I know that we're almost out of time for you, but I heard a rumor that Mom and Dad on the Waltons were actually romantically involved outside of the show. Is that true, false?
False. I mean, we loved each other very much, but I think we knew that if we ever took it further than just basically a kind of spiritual love, if we slept together or had a real romance, that it could turn sour and absolutely ruin the whole chemistry that we all had on the set. So in some level, Ralph and I were more childlike than the kids, but on that issue, we were very smart.
Mm-hmm. Cammie, did you notice any of that? You were the littlest.
I never noticed anything ever. I would say my main feature as a child was missing most of what was going on. But I also think as a baby, people protected and sheltered me. Like if there was ever anything that was, conflict, or people kept it from Cammie because I was the baby.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are going to be out of time. And so the last question that I always ask my guests is very quickly, what is the one thing that you are most grateful for? To who or what are you most grateful for? So we'll start with Eric.
What I'm most grateful for?
In life?
I'm most grateful for my family that I have. I'm a father of 3 kids, and I love, but I'm also just thankful to have these in my life, these wonderful people that I've had for over 50 years. And we celebrate together all of our accomplishments, but also our happy times together. Everyone will be joining me next week for my daughter's wedding, so I'm looking forward to having them there.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So we're gonna all get together and celebrate a special day in her life. So I'm thankful for this.
Wonderful. Judy.
Very similar. I mean, of course, my own family but I feel like I have been blessed with a very wonderful life, and a lot of that started with this show and this family and having all of these wonderful people in my life. So I'm incredibly grateful for the 50 years and counting of having this wonderful second family and everything that the show allowed me to experience in my life. It truly did change my life for the better.
Great. Cammie, very quickly.
She's frozen.
Uh-oh.
She's observing.
Okay,
Yes.
Let's go to Michael.
Like Elizabeth, she's just tuned out.
Exactly as everyone else.
Yeah, her internet is lagging. Okay. That's why. Okay, Michael, before this shuts off on me.
She's back.
This show turned my life around. Put my kids through school. I'm incredibly grateful for my sons and my grandchildren and this wonderful husband of mine. So, I have a lot.
Well, thank you so much. If you would do this with me, peace in, peace out, world peace. through Inner Peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live with the wonderful Waltons here. I hope you've enjoyed getting a little intimate look into their lives. I wish you very much and well for everything that you're about to do. And thank you again for coming to my studio. This is Dr. Marissa.
Thanks for having
Wishing you
us.
the best day ever.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night, Marissa.
Good night, Eric John Boy. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Again, I absolutely love and am so grateful for this forum that I get to meet some fabulous people whose work, their body of work continues to delight. I have spoken to several of the younger generation, and we're really lucky that we have channels that broadcast older shows and classic shows like the Waltons. I hope you enjoyed that little interview with them, and that if you just came in and missed it, you can go to my YouTube channel that has that houses all of this interview, as well as the others that I mentioned, classic TV. If you missed the show with Fran Drescher talking about how to prevent cancer, the thing that I love the most, and the people that I have on, if you haven't noticed, it's not just because you're an actor or a musician, but people who have taken their limelight and turned it on areas of, darkness, or temporary darkness, as I call it, so that more healing can happen. And, that connection that was made, why was the Waltons so popular? Why was it? And for me, definitely, it was a time where I could, dream a little and be comforted by a depiction of a family that went through, everyday family love and some family conflict. And it was truly one of those shows that helped me navigate some of the less than, or some of the more painful points when I was growing up. At the same time, those of you don't know, that I raised that 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma, is the fact that there's no blame here. And my Valentine's message for the end of the show is that if you are suffering right now from any kind of feelings that you're not good enough, or that you're not worthy of a relationship, or that you are, your family is so not the Waltons and so not Happy Days, and that there's a lot of hurt going on, I want you to look at me. I'm going to look straight into the camera and tell you that really, you are more than what is happening to you right now. Circumstances and people, places, and things do not impact who you really are at the core of who you are. And especially on a day like Valentine's, when all the focus is on who loves me, who likes me, who's bringing me flowers. You don't bring me flowers anymore. All of that unmet expectations or feelings that I'm not good enough to have that in my life, that's all BS. It's a belief system that keeps you feeling like you're not worthy, that you're not good enough. And every single one of the 7 point whatever billion it is right now on the planet, every single person is loving, loved, and lovable. Every single person has unique talents, gifts, and abilities to live, hone, develop, sharpen, present, execute, innovate onto this thing called life, onto this platform that is limited. You know, we're here from a certain time when we're born, and we are all going back sometime into that beautiful energy, that pure love energy, that pure source. We are all going to go there. Some of us go sooner rather than later, but no one human does a different road. We all go back into that quantum soup, or however you want to call it. So if that's true, then we only have this thing called life, this dash between birth and transition, to enjoy our lives. This is my public service announcement on Valentine's 2023. I want every single one of you within the sound of my voice or within the span of your eyes to really, starting today, maybe you made this as a goal or a resolution on January 1st, but today's the day to reaffirm or to begin anew, to love yourself. Please start there. Start where you are right now. Take a deep breath in through your nose. We're going to do the 3 breath technology. Let's see if we have time, a little bit of time, and releasing. Soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. That is, activating your body, your physicalness. Isn't it wonderful that we can hold hands if you have hands? Isn't it wonderful that you can touch your face? Isn't it wonderful that you can hug yourself? Something, hashtag COVID silver lining, right? We've learned how to hug ourselves when we were in isolation. Our bodies are amazing things. We have legs where we can walk and run and take us different places. We have arms to hold and hug and encourage and pat someone on the back. We have this amazing digestive system that we don't have to control, that allows us to process food into energy. I think that's amazing. We have livers and kidneys and all of those things that happen without us, being in control of. That's a great example of how intelligent our lives are. And then I love this part, the sense of taste, where we can enjoy amazing food, touch our fingertips. So that physical part of us, enjoy it. Enjoy it. If you do have a partner, enjoy the physical nature that you can enjoy from each other. Pleasure is a beautiful gift of life. Orgasms are a beautiful gift of life. So all of that is our body that we just activated with our breath. Appreciate that today. Love your body today on Valentine's. Then take another deep breath in and release all the stories and the drama that's activating the mind. Don't we have an amazing brain? A mind, and the most powerful tool we have as human beings is choice. We have the choice on what we want to focus on all day and every day. We don't have to, if you don't like what you're looking at, quit looking at it. Go and find something there's so much around you. You have a fridge, you have a closet, all the things that are inside. You have a car. Those of us who live in the top 8%, a lot of us in America, the fact that you have a car that you can drive around in. I love driving. All the things that you want to do. And I'm out of time. I am so grateful that I got to spend Valentine's with you. I hope you enjoyed the Waltons. It's all about balance, folks. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa wishing you the best Valentine's ever. Now go love yourself.
KCAA Loma Linda. The Legacy KCAA 1050 AM and Express News.
I'm Ed Donovan. More information is coming in about the deadly shooting at Michigan State University.
We have an active shooter event going on, multiple victims. They're requesting as many additional medical
assistance as they can get.
The gunman was found with a note in his pocket indicating a threat to 2 schools in Ewing Township, New Jersey, where he had ties. He's identified as 43-year-old Anthony McCrae. 3 people were killed. Authorities say McCrae fatally shot himself after a manhunt that ended in a confrontation with police miles from the campus in East Lansing, Michigan. Senators are being briefed today on the balloon and other shot down over the U.S. and Canada. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair General Mark Milley. The latest shooting over Michigan was done with 2 shots. The first missed. He said the second, third, and fourth objects are being recovered.
They're in very difficult terrain. The second one off the coast of Alaska is that's up in really, really difficult terrain in the Arctic Circle. With very, very low temperatures in the -40s.
The White House has said the objects differed in size and maneuverability from the Chinese surveillance balloon. The U.S. fighter jet